Hi, and welcome to Sprout Sessions, where our pros pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build, manage, and grow a successful website. We're here to answer your questions and share what we've learned from working on real-world websites every day, so that your website can work harder and you can focus on what you love.
Before we dive in, here's a quick intro. We're CYBERsprout, a web design and development team based in Minnesota. This year, we're celebrating 10 years of helping organizations bring their website ideas to life.
In that time, we've built custom websites for over 300 clients. Our goal? Websites that look amazing and perform even better, bringing in leads, streamlining content, and helping our clients grow.
What really sets us apart is our team. Between us, we have decades of experience in the web development, user experience, SEO, and digital marketing space. We bring all of these to the table for you in these sessions.
This series moves fast, but don't worry, we're here if you want to dive deeper. You can visit us anytime at cybersprout.net and click Let's Connect at the top of the page. We've also dropped the link in the video description.
If content like this helps you out, do us a favor. Like this video and hit subscribe. It's the best way to stay in the loop as we roll out more website tips, tools, and ideas for navigating today's digital world.
All right, we're glad you're here. Let's get into it. This is Sprout Sections.
We're also often asked about people's websites and compliance with accessibility standards. This is certainly a subject that I am very interested in. I've spoken about this before. Over 49 million US adults have a disability, yet fewer than 4% of the world's top websites are fully accessible. This gap reflects more than just poor user experience. It comes down to outright digital discrimination in some cases. Between 70 and 80% of disabilities are hidden or non-visible disabilities. These types of conditions are such that impact a person's life without being immediately noticeable to the people around them. These can include things like colorblindness or low vision for visual disabilities, auditory disabilities like deafness or hearing loss, auditory processing difficulties, cognitive neurological issues like ADHD, autism, dyslexia, conditions affecting memory or processing speed, physical disabilities like chronic pain, fatigue, conditions affecting motor function, and mental health issues like anxiety, depression, or other conditions that can impact cognitive function. Just to give a little background on Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, or WCAG as it's known, these were developed by the W3C consortium. They provide a framework for making web content accessible to people with disabilities. They break these principles into different areas and guidelines that have specific success criteria to them, so we can provide measurable steps for ensuring accessibility. There's a couple different levels of conformance. It's a hard word to say. A is the lowest, AA is the recommended mid-level, and AAA is the highest. At CYBERsprout, we by default aim for A.
Yeah, our processes are around AA. If you want an official audit of, that's an additional thing that we can do, as well as an additional service we provide.
And we can, through that additional service, we can meet higher conformance level, because some people are going to be legally bound to provide compliance at a certain level through legal standards such as the Americans with Disabilities Act or Section 508, among others. A couple notes on why CAG is important. There's a couple different areas. Inclusivity. We want to ensure that websites are accessible to people with a wide range of disabilities, promoting inclusivity and equal access to information and services. We want an improved user experience. Making websites accessible often leads to a better user experience for everyone, not just those with disabilities. We touched on the legal compliance issue. And then finally, enhanced SEO. Accessible websites are also easier for search engines to crawl and index, which potentially can improve their SEO performance. There's a couple things that we look for in sites that we inherit and things that we try to avoid on sites we design that are pretty easy to target. Things like low color contrast, missing alternative text on images, empty links for buttons and things like that, improper heading structure, and keyboard navigation issues if you can't do things like tab between elements. We use different testing tools like Wave or Google Lighthouse to scan our sites and sites that we're doing audits for to identify potential issues and be able to tackle those. Beth, do you want to touch on some of the other elements that we look for, especially in different areas?
Yeah, the main ones, obviously, that people probably think about first when thinking of websites is the visual aspect, because that is how you're taking in most of the information on a site. Something that a lot of people don't necessarily consider when designing a brand or brand colors is the contrast ratio of those colors. So often we'll end up darkening some of them to make sure that passes standard, and that can depend on various things, not limited to the text size and readability. And there are online tools, again, that you can access to check those ratios. With images, it would be things like alt text, so that if somebody's using like a screen reader, that they're getting a description of that image as if they were seeing it. Same goes for buttons, wanting to use like actionable and descriptive options instead of just learn more. Because if they're using a screen reader, it's not going to tell them what they're learning more about. On the flip side, I would say less frequently things that we have to address, because not every site has a video, but making sure that it's pulling from a platform where closed captioning is already included, like YouTube or Vimeo, or if it's actually locally hosted on the site, having those captions already added to the video itself. And then having an option for the text-based form of communication, which is fairly standard, but being able to email or use a form instead of having to get on a phone, because often people are deaf and don't use hearing devices. They're not going to be able to use a phone typically as others would. So just there's a lot of moving parts that impact it, but those are some of the ones that come to mind.
And it is that this team and firms like us, but mostly like us, is that we have that experience not only in what we do and how we help with the design, but we each have some folks in our lives that these are things that we're dealing with. So to have that actual knowledge there and bring it here to the team and then bring it to our clients, that's huge, because rules change. And for those people that have to do something, government agencies, municipalities, health systems, we can really help them and guide them to do the right thing. We want all of our clients to have that. I don't think we've ever let anyone not pass that test. Honestly, we really don't. We don't want them to have anything that's going to have pink and red from a contrast perspective. But
even as somebody who has like typical vision, like those can be hard on your eyes. Like there's
absolutely
like trying to read something and it's just not. So to think about that aspect, and then it's obviously a bigger impact for a lot of people.
I attended a workshop on this, web accessibility specifically for design. And the first 45 minutes were just about different types of color blindness. So there's a massive, it's a lot more than people realize. And there's a lot more, as I mentioned at the beginning, types of challenges that people have that are beyond just, I'm textbook colorblind in a certain way or something like that. Tyler, you want to talk about any search implications of good accessibility?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think it's one of those things that they can work to complement each other very well, but they can also be somewhat adversarial in the fact that I think about alt tags a lot of times for images, where people over optimize them for search engines, not considering that people are going to be reading these, so they'll read very goofy and funny.
Or screen readers are going to read them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that a lot of these same features that are used to optimize for SEO are very heavily used for both accessibility and SEO. So just making sure that you're keeping that user intent in mind. And the nice thing is we've gotten further along. It's less about optimizing for search engines and more about optimizing for the user experience. So if you keep that in mind, I think that's a much better long-term goal that'll make both sides happy.